Hi, Bobby from Visual Impact here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the similarities and differences between the new Canon C200 and C300 Mark II, as well as showing you some footage from the Canon C200. It's worth noting that we recently did an overview video of the C200, which you can check out via the link below, as we won't be going too in depth here. It's also worth noting that the unit that we've been given by Canon is a pre-production model, so any footage from that is also pre-production. As you can see, when placed side by side, the two cameras appear to be very similar as they share the same cinema EOS DNA, with the C300 Mark II being slightly taller, while the new C200 sports a new flat top for easier integration into gimbal stabilizer setups. The Canon C200's marquee feature is of course the internal 12-bit and 10-bit 4K RAW recording up to 60 frames per second in either 5:1 or 3:1 compression depending on the frame rate selected. The C300 Mark II on the other hand can only output 4K RAW up to 30p to external recorders such as the Atomos Shogun Inferno or Convergent Design Odyssey 7Q+. The C200 does feature the familiar Canon Log and Canon Log 3 gamma profiles in addition to wide DR. However, Canon Log 2 is not present due to the fact that it has been optimized for a 10-bit codec, hence why the Canon C300 Mark II has all three log gammas. We found the UHD and 1080p footage in the MP4 format to be crisp and detailed despite the limited 8-bit 420 chroma subsampling. The C200 features a single CFast 2.0 card slot on the side and two SD card slots which are used for MP4 recordings in either UHD or 1080p, while the C300 Mark II features dual CFast 2.0 card slots for all recording modes and an SD card slot for proxy recording. Both cameras feature dual pixel autofocus support with electronic Canon EF lenses. However, there are significant differences in the LCD monitor units. The new C200 features a newly designed touchscreen which can be adjusted in almost any direction. The touchscreen functionality on the C200 extends to autofocus support only, which means that you can't use it to adjust the menus. However, despite this newly redesigned monitor on the C200, it features an intuitive joystick control on the side, which makes going through the menus a breeze. Speaking of menus, those have been greatly improved too, and it's now much easier to adjust the autofocus parameters and make other camera adjustments. As you can see here, the C200 offers the ability to use LUTs on the different outputs of the camera, be it the viewfinder, HDMI or SDI output. Moving on to the XLR audio inputs on the C200, they've now been placed on the side of the body instead of on the side of the monitor audio unit as on the C300 Mark II. The top handle and monitor unit can also be removed without any tools, which greatly reduces setup time. The C200 inherits the excellent expanded built-in ND filters from the C300 Mark II, which give you up to 10 stops of neutral density, so that's a common feature between the two cameras. When it comes to codecs and frame rates, the C300 Mark II and C200 are quite different. As I mentioned before, the C200 shoots in either 12-bit 4K RAW or 8-bit MP4, while the C300 Mark II can do 10-bit 4K XFAVC internally, as well as 12-bit 2K 4444, making it more suitable for broadcast applications. Both cameras can record slow motion up to 120 frames per second or 100 frames per second in PAL in Full HD. But the main difference is that the slow motion in the C200 uses the full sensor, while the C300 Mark II uses a windowed portion of the sensor, giving you a crop reduction in your lens field of view and a slightly softer image. We found the 100 frames per second slow motion in the C200 to be quite useful, although it's worth a note that when shooting in super slow motion, you lose the autofocus functionality and there is also no audio recorded. Despite being somewhat similar in design and form factor, the C200 and C300 Mark II are aimed at different markets. The C200 appeals more to those planning on shooting more commercially orientated content, whether it be destined for the web or television, and online content creators can take advantage of the amazing dual pixel autofocus functionality and rotating touchscreen. The C300 Mark II, on the other hand, is a much more established workhorse in the broadcast and documentary world, as it does have a very strong 10-bit internal codec, timecode and gen lock input, as well as a second dedicated SDI output for monitoring. We hope this video was useful, and should you have any questions, let us know in the comments below.